This week, as we approach Christmas, we're thinking about hope. And today I want to think about Jesus' birth as it's recorded in Luke 2, 1-7. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria. And everyone went out to his own town to register. So Joseph went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register, and Mary, who had pledged to be married to him, was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to the firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. So the passage makes 4 points about Jesus' birth. Firstly, Jesus was born in history. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. Jesus has a historical context. He is neither a myth nor a legend. Jesus is both historical and verifiable. He's mentioned not only in the New Testament, but by contemporaries and early documents such as Josephus, Pliny, Tacitus, Cenotius, Thalius, Lucian, and the Talmud. Jesus is a person in history. There are those who are in power when Jesus was born. Caesar Augustus, he reigned from 27 BC until 12 AD. Herod the Great, called King of the Jews, he ruled in Judah from 40 BC to 4 AD. He was paranoid and ruthless. He executed 3 of his own sons and slaughtered all the baby boys born in Bethlehem. Quirinius, a military leader and Roman consul, is central in Central Asia Minor, and Josephus notes that he conducted a census. Scripture persistently places Jesus within history as a man who lived and died and rose in real time and permanently altered history. Secondly, Jesus is born in David's birthplace. In verse 3, and everyone born in his own town had to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. Jesus was born in the birthplace of David, Israel's greatest king. Nearly 1,000 years before Jesus' birth, God had promised to David through the prophet Samuel, "Your house and your kingdom will endure forever. Your throne will be established forever." The Jews eagerly expected David's successor and called him the Messiah, the son of David. Jesus is the son of David, and he's the promised king. It is no accident that Joseph was of the house and lineage of David, and Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Thirdly, Jesus was born in hardship. In verse 5 and 6, he went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born. But Mary and Joseph lived in Nazareth, and God needed them to be in Bethlehem for Jesus' birth. The Romans ordered a tax census, and Joseph had to return to his ancestral town, Bethlehem. This meant hardship for his family. The most glorious event in history is about to unfold, but for Joseph and Mary, it was drudgery, it was hard work, and it was real pain. Mary and Joseph live in Nazareth. It's 4 days' journey from Bethlehem. It was an arduous journey, and it was in winter, and Mary was a pregnant teenager. Who says that following God's plan is easy? Just because we face hardships and obstacles is no indication that God is absent. or that we've missed his will. Jesus told his disciples, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." And fourthly, Jesus is born in humble circumstances. In verse 7, "And she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn." Jesus wasn't born in a snug home. There was no room for him in the inn. We've romanticised the birth, but Jesus has been born in a stable or a cave where animals were kept, and his first crib was a cattle trough. There's a message here. Though Jesus was by very nature God, he didn't grasp at the prerogatives or flaunt his rights. Instead, he made himself nothing, taking on the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. Paul tells us in Philippians chapter 2. Jesus emptied himself of all the privileges that were his. Jesus' disciples argued about who was the greatest. But Jesus responded by saying, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." The manger represents serving. It's Jesus serving us. And the message is clear. Jesus' disciples are not to seek glory but rather are to be servants. Serving when it's convenient or when it's not. Serving when nobody understands or appreciates what we do. Christmas teaches us about servanthood. Bye for now.